Welcome to Off the Rails, brought to you by the Model Railway YouTube community group, MRYCG, connecting the Model Railway community together. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube. Just search for MRYCG. Hello and welcome to the long-awaited June 2020 episode of Off the Rails by MRYCG. It seems ages since the first podcast, but it's now time for another exciting, bigger and better second helping. We're absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of interest that was shown since the first one was released. Thank you all for your lovely comments and feedback. Hours of work went into that first episode and we feel it was all worthwhile. We've had lots of interest from people who would like to be featured, and many have already done interviews that will be going out over the coming months. So what have we got coming up for you in this one? Well, we have features such as interviews, this month's news briefing, a live stream listing, which has had a few updates, so make sure you don't miss that. And of course, there's going to be fun, facts, news and chats. There is also a great new feature hosted by James Cullen, which we all know you'll find exciting and very informative. Last but not least, we'll be announcing who is the lucky competition winner from last month's launch show. Will it be you? Stay tuned to find out. Right then, so let's get the boiler fired up and steam into the second show. Hello and welcome to this next interview with fellow modelers from the community. Today we are joined by Peter Gower, aka Class47 Peter. Thank you for joining us, Peter. Welcome.
Hello, Jason. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
Brilliant. Lovely to have you here indeed to get a little bit of an insight into yourself and into your modelling, past, present and future. So we're going to fire away straight away with the first question. That question is, at what age did you first get involved in model railways and what inspired you to do so?
Well, for my age, I can't exactly remember. I think it was around 2001, 2002 when I first got into the hobby. Who got me into model railways? It was my granddad, my dad's dad, who got me in because he used to do some modelling as well. I think he had his own train set as well, and he used to make models. I know he made a few model aircraft. He also made some fishing gear as well and used to make all sorts of things. I think I blame him really for getting into the hobby.
Your layout? Tell us what your layout is called.
Vauxhall Junction.
And what era would you say your layout is based?
It's not based on any particular. It's sort of those layouts where, if I like it, I run it. It's multiple different eras I tend to have. So you've got pre-grouping, the big four, and British Railways and privatisation.
What would you say is your favourite part of the layout that you've built currently?
Oh, definitely the 009, because I've always wanted to have narrow gauge on and standard gauge on one layout. And I remember when I went on holiday to Wales the once, and I saw all these narrow gauge railways, and I thought, wouldn't it be great to have standard gauge and narrow gauge together on one layout? And I got my interest from there. It's been a learning curve with 009. I've had a couple of teething problems, tracked buckles a couple of times in the heat, but then I sorted it. I can't take all the credit for that because my dad helped me with some of it. He helped me do the bridge that goes across the sea.
Have you built any previous layouts apart from the one you're currently working on?
Yes. I remember the first layout I had when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, I didn't have any model railways. I used to have the Rio stuff, and I remember having this big battery-powered train set, which had an American locomotive and a couple of wagons and a caboose. And I had hours of fun with those. And then my parents would sometimes go and buy me these VHS tapes and magazines of model railways. And then I became fascinated with model railways. And my first layout I had was around 2001, 2002, when me and my dad one day went to the Severn Valley. It was raining, it was absolutely chucking it down, and we decided it was too wet to go on the train. And so then we both decided to go to this model shop in Bridge North called the Toy Emporium. And we went in there, bought some track to make a small oval, a controller, and a locomotive. Then we went to B&Q and bought a baseboard, and from then I got my first layout.
So what was your first train you actually bought then, or train set?
The first train I had was something me and my dad picked out together. We've got a Hornby 10 Princess Royal Class 46208, Princess Helena Victoria in the VL Express Passenger Blue. I never had a box train set, it was all bought individually.
What would you say is your favourite part of your layout build then? You mentioned the 009, but is there any particular part of your layout build you really enjoyed doing the most?
I quite enjoyed the seaside. The seaside is my favourite bit of the layout. I remember the sand from that we actually got from a real seaside at Weston-super-Mare. On a day out at summer, my mum just got these bags and just put some seaside in it, some of the sand from the beach into it.
So you,
Then I used it on the layout.
so you brought the actual seaside to the layout for the seaside scene.
Yeah.
Excellent. So is the layout Fox Hill Junction, is it actually based on a fictional location or a real place then?
It's more of a fictional location. Originally, I was going to call it Bestgate Junction because it's where I live, but then I thought might confuse people because they might think I'm trying to model Bestgate when I'm not. So I changed the name of it. So it's a fictional layout.
So how long has Fox Hill Junction been under construction?
I'd say about 7 years. I started building it my dad started building it in 2013 because the previous layout before then we had to move out. And so we moved to here where we live now in the Bestgate area. And then we built the metal shed up first, which was a bit of a nightmare to build. And then we got the baseboards built for it and we started building it. A lot has been changed on it though. There's still some bits I've still got to do on it.
They say a layout is never complete. Would you say yours is nearing completion or still a long way off?
I'd say it's nearing completion. There's still a few bits and bobs that I can do on it, but I haven't got them to find any of the scenery stuff yet.
You've got Fox Hill Junction. Have you ever considered building yourself an exhibition layout?
It would be nice to do. Sometimes I do think about. So we've got these old spare boards in the shed somewhere, and I thought perhaps maybe one day we could build an exhibition layout, or even a little diorama, which would be quite nice to do.
Of the rolling stock and locomotives that you own, can you give us your favourite of each?
My favourite steam locomotive, I think that's probably going to be the Bully Pacifics I have because I love them, like the Merchant Navies and the West Countries and the Battle of Britain. For me diesel, that would have to be the Class47 easily. My electric locomotive, I'll probably go with the Class 90. And my DEMU, I'm going to go with either the 158 from Batman or the Real Track 156.
And how about coaching and wagon stock, stuff like that?
My favourite coaches, I'd choose the MRYCG coaches. The detail on them, that's superb. Works of art, those are. They're just like the real ones at the Severn Valley, which I've been on. And for me wagons, I'm going to choose the Shell Oil tankers because they look great when they're being pulled behind a Class 37.
Do you have any part of your current layout that you look at now and regret doing and plan to go back to?
Yes, quite recently there was the High Street because I looked at it and I thought, I don't really like this because it looked a bit rubbish because the buildings, some of them, because it's all supposed to be low relief buildings, but some of them weren't low relief. There were those buildings in there that weren't really suitable. Also, I only had a few street lights, so they weren't going all the way down alongside the High Street. And the pavements weren't all that brilliant either. So since then, I have gone back and started to redo it. I bought some of the Metcalfe paving stone sheets, which I've added. And I've added a lot more street lights, which are the ones from China, I think, the cheap ones. And I've been buying some Scene Crafts low relief Batman buildings, which I've still got to finish it off yet, but it's getting there slowly.
If you could, what loco or rolling stock would you like to see produced for the first time, or maybe even reproduced?
There's quite a few locomotives that I'd like to see produced. I'd quite like to see Big Bertha, the Licky Bank, because that's a magnificent looking locomotive. There's also the USA TCX 160, because I love them. Probably one of the only few American locos that I like. And they've got a really brilliant loud whistle on them that I just love to hear. And also there's the Class 89, because that's quite unique, being the only one that was ever built with its sloped front. And that's something that would look magnificent to have in model form.
So far of your modelling time, what would you say has been your proudest moment or achievement with the hobby?
Proudest moments or achievements? It's definitely having a bigger layout, I think, and having me and my dad work on it together. Because it started off with just a small layout and they've got bigger and bigger. And my dad's the one who's helped them build all of them. There's that father and son sort of bond in the hobby that you get that you probably don't get with any of the other layouts or the hobbies.
Just a couple of questions left now for you, Peter. So, what would you say your thoughts are on bringing the younger generation into the hobby?
It's a great idea because we could get more people into the hobby. Because I think nowadays, I think people are interested. The younger ones they seem to like the iPads and the iPhones and stuff. So to get them into the hobby so it doesn't die out and get them interested in railways and the hobby, it would be fantastic to see. And I like what Hornby are doing as well with the Bassett Low steampunk range. That'll be nice to see if I can get people like gamers and some of the other generations into the hobby to get them interested.
So, on with the final question for this interview before we hit the quickfire round. How useful do you find online social media and forums are towards providing modelling information?
Very useful because there's tips like on, for example, repainting locomotives or weathering or doing certain bits of scenery. It's nice to have these forums or even social media sites like our group, MRYCG, to ask for help and get their tips and advice on how to do it, to get some inspiration.
Well, we've had some wonderful answers there to those unique questions for you, Peter. Hope you've enjoyed answering those, and we've thoroughly enjoyed getting a little bit of an insight into your modelling time with you, your father and grandfather. It's been great. Now it's time for the quickfire round. Are you ready?
Okie doke. Yeah, I'm ready.
So it's time for the quickfire questions. Now all we ask is for one word answer per question. So, quickfire question number 1. What is your favourite beverage?
Cider.
Question 2. What is your favourite snack?
Chocolate.
And question 3. What is your favourite all-time TV show?
Friday night dinner.
Thank you very much for those quickfire questions there, Peter. And again, thank you for the main questions as well. It's been really enjoyable having you here to answer them and get a little bit of an insight into yourself and Foxhill Junction.
Thanks for having me on.
It's been delightful, Peter. Thank you very much. Before you do go, though, please let us know where can we find you.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Class47 Peter.
Thank you very much, Peter. So until next time, everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Take care.
Want to know more about MRYCG? Then why not check out our website at MRYCG.com, a place for model railway enthusiasts to come together and share their stories, skills and much more to other railway modellers in a community known as MRYCG, the Model Railway YouTube Community Group. And now for your MRYCG monthly news briefing for June 2020. The Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Steam Railway have launched a fundraising appeal to help with maintenance costs to secure the future of the line after a landslip near Manor Lane Bridge in Gotherington. A crack in the land was found in late November 2019. Since then, the crack has evolved into a serious landslip due to heavy rain over the winter and into January 2020. Due to the coronavirus, the GWSR needs urgent help with donations, as they are limited to fundraising options at this time. The total outstanding so work may continue is £250,000, which will need to be raised in the next 2 months. If you would like to help by donating, however small the amount, the GWSR will be very grateful, as they can restore the line for enjoyment of future generations. Please visit gwsr.com/emergency embankment appeal for more information. DAPL are issuing a product recall on models of its recently released 00 gauge water tower. The manufacturer has found that a substandard component used during the production of these motorised models has been discovered to fail when used with a 15-volt AC power supply. Replacement products with correctly specified components will become available in due course. If your product is affected, DAPL have advised customers to arrange return of their models to their place of purchase for a full refund. For a detailed list containing model numbers of the affected products, please visit dapl.co.uk/00 gauge water tower product recall. And finally, following on from last month's Captain Tom news story, Hornby have released a 00 gauge Class 66 in GB rail freight livery named after the fundraising centenarian. Manufacturer DAPL have also got an N gauge version in production. Both locos will carry the number 66731. Captain Tom Moore, the fundraising hero who turned 100 last month, will be awarded a knighthood after the Prime Minister put in a special nomination. Captain Tom does not know when he will officially receive the honour, but he hopes that the Queen will not be very heavy-handed with the sword at the ceremony.
How would you like to browse through a wide range of stunning locos and DMUs? Then get yourself down to the friendliest model shop in Stoke-on-Trent. The Hobby Goblin is an online and retail shop specialising in 00, N and larger gauge model railways. Other gauges are available to order. They sell a first-class range of items such as Hornby, Bachmann, Pico, Dapol, Graham Farish and a whole host of others. They provide a first-class service at competitive prices. In-store services include weathering, decoder and lamp fitting. Visit the shop in person at 54 Hamel Road, Burslem, ST6 1AU. Check out the website now, thehobbygoblin.co.uk, or give Steve a call on 01782 818 433.
Well, we're here now with a new interview for you this month. We've got one we could call one of the legends in the model railway scene for you. We've got Dave Watson of Dean Park Station, aka Dave Class47. Welcome, Dave.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
It's an absolute honour to have you here and get a little bit of an insight into your model railway history, how it has been, how it's currently progressing, and what you look for in the future. Okay, so Dave, first question for you. Dean Park is quite well known on the model rail scene. What era actually is Dean Park set in?
The era I've chosen is the 1980s. So you're looking at era 7 into era 8. I'm basically modelling from 1980 to the turn into 1991. So I can encompass BR Blue through to sectorisation. And at the very tail end, I can get things like the Class 91 and the run up to privatisation.
Okay, so quite a select era then for the station of Dean Park. That takes me on to the next question. Dean Park is primarily, as you say, ScotRail and BR Blue. Do you wish you had at any time focused on another region or even made it a nationwide?
If I had focused on another region, I quite like the East Coast, and I was going to focus on York Station, that around that area, York, Doncaster, because you obviously got the HSTs coming through, and then you've got a lot of other stock from the BR era intermingling in that area as well. So that is an area that I would have possibly liked, and maybe in the future try it. Another area that I'd quite have liked to have done was Network South East, purely because of the colourful livery. So again, these are things for possibly future projects. But being in Scotland, I wanted to focus on the Central Belt where I'm from, because that's what I grew up with, basically.
Okay, so for the next question, Dave, how long has Dean Park actually been under construction?
The boards went down early 2012, and I started in the autumn of 2012, and by the Christmas of 2012 I had one loop running round, and that is probably, I think maybe my first or second video that I ever uploaded had a loop going round, and then my target was to get that down by Christmas, and I got that target. And so it's really started from then, and that's what now, it's nearly 8 years it's been on the go now, which seems amazing considering how much I've still got to do. But when you look at the layout, when you stand and look at the layout, you can see what you've done in the last 7 years, and it is a hell of a lot of work. So, I don't put a timescale when the layout's going to be finished, as in all scenically complete, but, I've been on the go 7 years now, and it's probably 2/3 done, so that can kind of give you an idea how long it's going to take to complete.
Have you ever built any other layouts prior to Dean Park?
The only other layout I've built was when I was a child in my parental home's attic, and it was a similar layout to the one I've got now, as in a central area with the boards going round the trusses, if you like. It wasn't as big, it was a lower ceiling, so when I got to my teens I was actually too tall to stand up in the place. But that was very much Hornby train set stuff, and some basic scatters and paper mache tunnels. There was no real modelling in it. It was Hornby, Lima, and basic ready to plant buildings. And I got a little bit more into it towards my early teens, about maybe making card buildings, but that was the only layout I've actually had prior to this. But I've always been an aircraft and ship modeller from the age of about 12 right the way through till when I started the layout, this Dean Park layout. So I've kept my eye in with making things, but this is my first adult layout.
Great answers there that also take me straight into the next question, Dave. And that's what age did you actually first start getting involved into model railways, and what inspired you?
I was about 3 or 4, and it was a basic Hornby. It was actually a Class 47, but it was a BR Green, and it was basically a train set. It was a loop on my dining room table with my dad and my sister, and it got put away at tea time. And I just used to like watching the trains go round. And when I go maybe 4 or 5, I got an Intercity 125, as a lot of people did round that era. And then we moved to another house with the attic, and it was my dad and my granddad that set up the boards, and I got to go up and play with my dad and play trains. It's really sparked from there.
That's great, that is. And in fact, you've kind of answered another question that I planned to ask, and that was, what was your first train or train set? And you mentioned about the Intercity 125. Would you say that was what you had first then?
That was my first one, that, my own one. My dad kind of bought us the Hornby Class 47 with some wagons, but the HST and a Class 37 and BR Blue were probably my first ones that I got from Santa. When I was young. When you look back on now, they're rubbish. When the Ringfield motors and the shorty little Mark III coaches. But as a 5-6-year-old, they were brilliant.
Now, going back to the layout currently got of Dean Park, it's a very large layout. Can you tell us the overall size of the layout, and was that the initial size that you were planning for?
Yes, it was. When I got the house that I'm in, I floored the attic, got my pal to join up, so we did that. And then I marked out where I wanted it to kind of go. I wanted it another truss longer, if you like, but I talked myself back because I thought I'll need more storage space for things like Christmas trees and the usual household stuff that goes up the attic. So it was 25 feet was what I settled on, give or take. And it's about 12 to 13 feet wide at the ends. But the baseboards themselves on the sides are about 2 foot and 9 inches.
So quite a large size, and you said you were looking at going maybe a little bit bigger with the layout, but you say you've restricted yourself down a little bit just to give you some extra storage. You don't really see on the videos very often the storage area that you have got, and you do have some kind of a CCTV system that monitors that. Will we see in future maybe some more of the behind the scenes of the layout at all?
I've been asked that recently, actually, about filming more of the fiddle yard. That actually is an addition to 25 feet, which was an afterthought. I didn't actually originally think, I don't need any storage. I'll not have enough trains for that. I'll limit myself. Of course, that never happens, and you end up with far too much stock. And you think, well, actually, I can't be bothered lifting it off the track and putting new ones on, so I'll have a storage yard. So that was built in a kind of loop, so I can access it from both upper and lower, and I can use it as a kind of part of the layout for trains to go through it. So I will be filming that a little bit more on the videos, due to just basically requests like yourself and other people have asked as well. It's a handy addition, and I could actually do with extending it, but the mere fact that it's now full talks me out of buying some more stuff. More than one occasion I thought, you know what, I've no space for it, I'm not bothered buying it. But it's an addition that I couldn't live without now. The fiddle yard, I've taken it as far as I can into the trusses, for reaching. It's full in the respect that it's full of stuff I've got just now. I've also got stuff downstairs still in boxes, carriages and wagons mainly, but I'm probably limited with this. Yeah, it's just access, and those who have a loft layout with the trusses in modern houses anyway, that is a factor. You've got to think, how am I going to get the wood in there? How am I going to reach the trains if they do need the hand of God, to move them? And do I really need to add in more storage, or I could just rotate my stock, So what I do now is I have a BR Blue stroke sectorization type of stock on the layout, and I might take 5 or 6 locos off and then put some later locos on, like a 90 or a 91. So, I can change eras. I don't have to have it all on the layout at once and out the boxes. So that's how I'm going to get around that. But I'll always be adding to more rolling stock. I'm looking at getting the ScotRail Mark III sliding doors. So I'm dipping my toe into the current era. I'm not going to go crazy with that, because that could cost a heck of a lot more money. So I'm just kind of limiting it to some LEDR and ScotRail stock.
Talking of locos and rolling stock, actually, what loco or rolling stock would you actually like to see produced?
That's a good question, that is. I'd like to see, it's already produced, but I'd like to see a lot of improvement on it, is a Class 20. I feel the one that now is not up to date with regard to technology and lighting. So that's what I'd like to see improved. One I'd like to see introduced, prior to Helian's introduction of their 86s, I was going to say an 86. That's one I've wanted for a long time. Probably an 84 or an 8. I've got an 85. I quite like the AC electrics. So maybe an 84. Some people have said an 89 as well, but I think that may be a wee bit too niche for a manufacturer to take on.
So, of all the stuff that you've actually got now then, what's your favourite loco that you currently own?
Oh, now, I've got a real soft spot for the Class 47s and the HSTs. If you were to pick an individual loco, probably the first one I ever bought in this current era, which is my Charles Rennie Macintosh 47 in ScotRail Blue Stripe. I just like it. It's got obviously a Scottish-based name. It's got Highland Stags on the side. It was limited edition from Rails, and that was the first loco I bought even prior to me laying the baseboards. So that is my favourite. But there's a lot of favourites, but that is the ultimate.
And what about rolling stock?
Ooh, I like Mark III coaches in Swallow livery. That's probably my favourite.
So again, taking you back to the layout, Dave, what's been your favourite part of the build so far?
The depot, the bit that I'm currently working on. The reason for that is I've managed to do a lot of scratch building, something I wasn't confident enough to do at the start. I suppose I did a scratch build with my signal box at the station, but I'm doing it out of MDF now, plasticard, and painting it myself and weathering it myself. So probably the depot has been my most enjoyable part. But I've every section I work on is fun, but the last 2-3 years has been gearing up to working on the depot. So I'm really chuffed that I'm now working on it and it's nearing completion.
Hello, Tim Serve here, with a little reminder to sign up to my channel on YouTube for your weekly dose of Timber Serve's Bidbits. Ciao for now.
The script says subscribe, not sign up. As it'll do.
On with the next question then. Apart from your Dean Park build, what has been your most proudest achievement or moment up to date with the hobby?
Having the layout in a national publication, that was something that came out of the blue, and I didn't think I was going to get in a magazine so early on. The layout was only 3 years old, and so that was probably the proudest achievement out with my actual layout building myself.
So moving on with the questions, we're going to go on now a little bit away from Dean Park and fire straight in with this question, and it's, would you or have you ever considered doing an exhibition layout?
Yes, I have considered it, and that will possibly happen after I've finished the layout. I say finish the layout. I've got back round to the station, so I've worked my way round. So after that is kind of done, and I'm then just maybe updating and renewing parts of the layout, I might turn my attention to an exhibition layout, either on my own or more preferably with a mate, so we can design our own parts and then maybe bring them together or something. I don't know, but it's something that's not been ruled out. I love going to shows to meet people. I wouldn't do any running when I was there. I'd probably leave that to the other guys and stand out front and chat to people all day. So that's why I'd like to have an exhibition layout, so I could meet people in the hobby and have a good old chat.
Would that exhibition layout be something similar to Dean Park itself, or would you aim for something completely different?
It would be diesel electric, based on all the stock that I've got. It would probably be in the same era, but whether it would be Scottish-based, solely Scottish-based anyway, is up for debate. But if I wasn't to do it on the current era, I would move into the 90s, into your GNERs and early Virgin West Coast type stuff. So, that's the areas I'm interested in.
Possibly towards the more modern era then, and maybe something along the Pendolinos, even that more modern?
Yes, we're talking the turn of the century. You could see that, because obviously you've still got the GNER classic livery in service, and then you've obviously got new rolling stock coming in as well, and you can then tie in the Pendolinos, and you maybe have Scotland down the west coast style exhibition layouts. Maybe start in Scotland and then it ends up in Manchester or something. So you can use the west coast as a kind of theme, because I like the locos that are on the west coast as well. The 87s. I would like to do a layout that's an exhibition layout that's set on a particular area, perhaps, like through Cumbria and that. So you've got the beautiful landscape and the railway cutting its way through that landscape. There's so many areas of the country that have got classic scenes and classic liveries that ran in it. So I could really model countless numbers. I could make several exhibition layouts.
Moving on, just a few more questions to go for you now, Dave. We'll start over. What are your thoughts on bringing the younger generation into the hobby?
Vital. It really brought it home to me with that competition that I ran. How many youngsters are out there interested in the actual model railway hobby or just playing trains? The amount of entries that I got from kids pre-teen was just like a shock. I didn't think any kids played trains these days. I thought it was all electronics and internet. but the amount of entries I got was amazing, and I'm so happy that one of the younger group won the backwind train set that I had. If we can get these generation on, we've got a chance. Also the teens, I'm obviously a teacher and I'm teaching a high school, and I didn't think anyone was interested in trains. When my article was published in a local press last autumn, my name was kind of out there in the local area. Nobody knew that I was the modeller type person from Dean Park. But a lot of kids who I teach watched YouTube for model railways. And the amount of modellers who've come out of the woodwork in my school is quite cool as well.
So not only at school now you're talking education, you're talking model railways to the fellow students.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm thinking about starting up a model railway club in the school to build small dioramas to teach them the basics, ballasting, wiring, soldering, how to wire up DCC, basic static grassing, basic scenery, even things like painting and dry brushing. Skills that I'm not an expert at, but if I can get them the basis of that, they can then build a proper layout when they're older. Well, I'll be looking for, obviously, a group of kids and some, basic baseboards, and I'll provide all the stuff I can get. So I'm hoping I can get a hold of them in the hobby and they'll keep on it, because a lot of people will fade out of it in their late teens, but it's keeping that interest there as long as you can, I think, is key. In a conversation with Simon Kohler, I said, it's not very popular because it's perceived as a bit geeky. And we discussed, it's got electronics, it's got electrical, it's got joinery, it's got art, it's got painting, it's got sculpting. What have you not got in there? You've got so many skills, and some people are better at some than others. We've all got our strengths. So it is a hobby really for life skills. And if anything this lockdown has shown us is how important having a hobby is, because I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have my model railways in this lockdown.
So on with the next question. How do you find, though, the current online social media and forums are for modelling information?
YouTube and Facebook are the two dominant forces at the moment, and I feel that they're so helpful to get new knowledge. The Facebook groups, for example, you post a picture up, ask for feedback from the people in the group. You're hoping to get honest feedback and not just pats in the back all the time. If it's rubbish, I want somebody to say that it's rubbish, that kind of thing, but give it constructive feedback. I feel that is shown me some new skills as well. Some people will paste a link to a video and you'll obviously go and watch it. That's quite interesting. I'm going to try that myself. Obviously, YouTube is the biggest part of this. If you go on YouTube to find out anything. I was on YouTube the other week there to try and find out how to reprogram my Sky remote controller. There's a video for everything. We joked about it when I met Richard down at his layout last summer. When I started out, it was Richard and AY76 and Terry from Glebe Road that I watched. And I asked so many questions and they gave me the answers, and then I used that on my layout. And now I'm in the position to be able to do what they did, give answers to people because I've been through it. And I think it's got to be a good thing. The whole point of YouTube for me is I am a modeller who is on YouTube, and I came into YouTube to document my progress, and I like showing people what I do. I'm a teacher, I like showing people what to do. And if they wanted to ask me questions on it, I'd give them the answers and give them the pitfalls and the positives and all that kind of honest answers if I could. If I didn't, somebody else would come in with the answer. So that's what I think YouTube should be used for in the hobby, is documenting and sharing, freely sharing your skills. I'm never going to ask somebody to pay me for, tell me how to do something. That's not the reason I'm on YouTube,
On with now the final question. You state that Dean Park is very modern looking and it's in constant build. But what do you say about a description of Dean Park being very clean? A lot of people out there have given you the title of Mr. Clean, and the layout gets a nickname of Clean Park Station. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really care, to be honest. When I started out doing my station regarding things like weathering and stuff, I didn't have those skills. The track's been weathered to the level that I'm happy with because I looked at photographs. Edinburgh Waverley in the 80s had very clean ballast. The railways were still kept in those days. There was no weeds everywhere growing up walls and stuff. Certainly not in the photographs that I've seen from that era and the area I'm modelling. As I've moved around the layout, I have increased my skills on scratch builds, the retaining walls, and as you've seen from my depot, that is not clean because depots are not clean. So I've had to learn those skills in order to make it realistic. Now, will I go back to the station and maybe add some like the Hatton's oil spill kits in the bay platforms? Of course I'm going to do that because that product wasn't available when I started. So I will revisit and refresh But somebody asked me in a live feed the other day, is there anything you regret doing? No, because I don't have regret about doing what I wanted to do at the time with the skills I had. Now, some of the layout is directly under light and it looks a bit cleaner than it actually is. But if that's all people have got to comment on, I'm not really concerned because I know that it's not that clean. But coming on to the next point is the start of the layout, my skills were developing. They still are, they always will be. At least I have a go myself to try and add to my skills. And I'll never feel regretful that having had a go. And as my skills progress, I might look back at something I did 7 years ago and think, well, that's actually quite rubbish now, and I'll add to it or redo it. Because at the end of the day, you're never the finished article in this hobby. You're always learning it and always sharing new ideas with other people, and that's the beauty of it. So I don't take any offence at being called Clean Park Station. I find it very humorous, like a lot of things people say. I spend so much money on lovely rolling stock, and a lot of it is limited edition. And I ain't going to take an airbrush and some enamels to it until I know I can do a cracking job. Now, I speak to people who do it for a living. Alex Carpenter, for example, ABC Workshops. He does my stuff, and I trust him to do what I want, and he's got the skills. And he gives me lots of tips. I've got so much to do with the layout. I've not got time to sidetrack and start weathering stuff just now. You know, when I've got that fourth side done, then I'll turn my skills to mastering local weathering. And if I can weather a depot and make it look oily and, you know, realistic, I'll be able to weather a local, but not just now. And trust me, I'll be practicing on old locals before I go anywhere near some of the other ones that I've got.
Right. So that's it for the main questions. Thank you very much for those wonderful answers, Dave. And we've had a really good insight into the past, present, and maybe into the future also with Dean Park. Thank you very much for those. But what we're going to do, we're going to finish off on 3 quickfire questions that are totally not model railway related. And all we need on those questions is one-word answers. So let's fire away. Quickfire question 1. Favourite beverage?
Ribena.
Question 2. Favourite snack?
Victoria Sponge.
And the final quickfire question. Favourite all-time TV show?
No, that's a hard one, that. I do like the Blackadder series.
So thank you very much for those amazing quickfire question answers, Dave. We got a little bit of closer insight into the man behind the model railway.
That's okay.
So it's been absolutely great to have you here for this interview and get an insight into Dean Park and before and beyond. Thank you again for joining me.
No, you're very welcome. I've enjoyed it. It's good to chat as always, Jason.
Yes, lots of chats are required in this current situation. It's great to communicate with all the modelers out there. And don't forget, if anybody out there also wants to be involved with the interviews, make sure you get in touch with us at contact us at MRYCG.com via email. So thank you again, Dave. And until next time, we'll see you again soon. Take care.
Cheers, Jason. Take care.
Welcome to your monthly event and exhibition listings. Each episode we will be sharing with you a selection of dates you may be interested in. Due to the current ongoing situation, unfortunately all public gatherings are cancelled. However, we at MRYCG would like to bring to your attention that a number of online model railway enthusiasts have taken the step to connect the model railway community together by hosting live streams that are free to watch, take part in and socialise. All the following times are listed in UTC. Monday, 3 p.m, FMR Station House. 7 p.m, Jenny Kirk with the Monday Club. Midnight, Tyodan Valley Railroad and Coal Company. Tuesday, 2 a.m, Tom's Trains and Things. 8 p.m, Barnabas Junction with YouTube Tuesday in association with MRYCG. Midnight, On Track Tuesday. Each week there will be a show hosted by different people. Indian Head Valley Railroad on the first week of the month. Redbird Tony 2010 on the second week of the month. Creative Rails the third week of the month. Crooked River and Eastern on the fourth week of the month. Wednesday, 8:30 p.m, FMR Station House. 11 p.m, every second week of the month, Schuylkill River Valley. 11 p.m, also every second week of the month, D&RGW Iron Horse Route. Midnight, Sparky 107 with the Wednesday night live chat. Thursday, 2 a.m, Michael McCarville. Midnight, Hot Rod Rodney. Friday, 3 p.m, FMR Station House. 8 p.m, Facebook Friday with MRYCG, hosted in their group on Facebook. Saturday, 1 a.m, BNSF 6951. 3 p.m, Back on Track. 8 p.m, West Hill Wagon Works. Sunday, 9 p.m, Oak Hill Model Railway. All live streams are hosted on YouTube unless stated otherwise. Please head over to jennifer-kirk.com/livestream community schedule for further information.
Want to get involved with over 1,600 members? Then why not check out the official Facebook page and group? Just search for MRYCG, the Model Railway YouTube community group.
Are you stuck for gift ideas? Maybe you're looking for something with a more personal touch. Jumble Lane Printing are a specialist service that supplies a wide range of personalised items tailored to suit your requirements at a competitive price. We will print your chosen design on t-shirts, canvas pictures, mugs, keyrings and clocks. In fact, there's so many ideas to choose from, you'll be spoiled for choice. For people with an interest in model railways, we also print banners, totems and bespoke backzines. Please come and visit our Facebook page and see what we can do for you. Just search for our Jumble Lane Printing page on Facebook or call Jeff now on 07931 776 978.
Hello, I'm James Cullen and welcome to this month's edition of Disaster Diaries. Since the introduction of railways, there have been accidents and incidents. Some only minor affairs that were barely noted by the local papers, and others, tragically, more serious that not only made national news, but also changed the ways in which railways operated around the world. Over the coming episodes, I intend to take you on a little journey exploring some of these disasters that have occurred and that will possibly you've never heard of, and hopefully you'll never ever experience. I could start with the ill-fated MP, Mr. William Huskinson, the first real recorded railway fatality in 1830. So after some confusion and poor error of judgment on his part when trying to actually get across to speak to the Duke of Wellington, was killed by being run over by the rocket at the opening of the Liverpool and Manchester Railway. Instead, we shall actually begin with an event that happened a little bit more recently, the somewhat famous disaster at Hixon in 1968. For those who don't know about Hixon, an express from Manchester to London Euston, travelling at a speed of approximately 75 miles an hour, collided with 100 tons of transformer on a low loader whilst attempting to cross a level crossing near the Hixon facility. At approximately 12:30 on Saturday afternoon, January the 6th, 1968, the driver of E3009, hauling the 11:30 a.m. Manchester to Euston Express, approached Hixon level crossing on the Stoke-on-Trent to College line. In front of him, he saw, around 400 yards ahead, a long low loader transporting this huge transformer stopped across the level crossing. The transporter was carrying a transformer from the EE Company works at Stafford, only a few miles away, to a depot at Hixon, just beyond the level crossing. Because of a slight hump in the road over the crossing and the overhead lines that were, say, above the railway, the transporter's crew were checking clearances as it crept over at a speed of around 2 miles an hour. There was absolutely nothing the driver could do. He made an immediate brake application, but it had no effect at all. There was just not enough distance for the train to actually stop. On a falling gradient of around 1 in 600, he'd have needed around 1,500 yards to stop the train from its speed of 75 miles an hour. The train hit the transporter and threw the whole assembly aside. Inevitably, the loco was badly damaged and derailed. It finished up some 100 yards beyond the crossing, with the leading coaches partly destroyed, zigzagging across the track behind it. Sadly, 3 men on the locomotive, the driver, his second man, and a spare driver travelling in the cab with them, and 8 of the passengers were killed. Over 40 other passengers and the restaurant car attendant were injured. There were no injuries, thankfully, to the crew of the transporter or the police escorting the load. The transporter lorry was designed specifically for carrying large, heavy loads, and unlike things you see on the road today, it consisted of a track unit at the front and the rear for power and for steering. and a main centre section that consisted of a large steel girder framework with a low centred well carrying 2 4-axle bogies pivoted at each end. These were linked to the tractor unit, which guided the whole assembly around bends in the road. Quite an impressive looking machine. The underside of the well section was only a few inches above the road surface, and it was actually possible to ground the entire thing if the road was humped or uneven in any place. Movement of very large loads such as this has always been a subject to special rules by the Ministry of Transport and can only take place under special orders and within certain rules. The order specifies the route that can be taken, largely to make sure the road is suitable and there's no way they're going to get stuck on a narrow road, port under a low bridge, or go over any overbridges that can't take the weight. Usually, such movements have a police escort. It was not only the practice to list exceptional hazards, such as level crossings, which are visible and capable of being understood by the driver of the vehicle. One of the main causes of this incident was actually the crossing that was involved. Level crossing at Hickton was of a type which many of you will recognise today, with an automatic half barrier, referred to as an AHB. In the 1960s, these were basically new, and from the dawn of railways, level crossings had the classic style of opening gates. These were there so when you were crossing with animals and such like, they wouldn't be able to walk off of the railway as they were channeled across the other side. Many crossings were controlled from signal boxes alongside the line, with signals to control the trains, and some boxes also worked the gates. Some boxes only worked the gates. The gateman was advised when trains were coming by a bell signal or some sort of indication from the next signal box, and he would then close the gates to traffic to allow the train to pass through safely. Others were fully fledged signal boxes, acting as block posts to operate along the block system. By the 1950s, with the increase in road traffic and the introduction of the road system that we sort of have today, especially in towns and cities, level crossings were causing lots of problems, long delays and congestion, and the ministry decided to have to do something about it. They looked at other countries for inspiration and ideas and eventually settled on the AHB type of crossing, which, as you mostly know, have a lifting barrier dropped on each side, so vehicles can't get onto the railway, but you can exit it safely. Operation of the barriers was triggered by the trains themselves, as it is today, when they occupy what is called the cracked circuit. This depresses a treadle, or a little pad, if you will, inside the rail, which sets off a sequence of warning lights and bells for road users at the crossing. This is followed by the descent of the barriers a few seconds later, and then the train passes. The train is cleared, the barrier flies, and traffic flows as normal. Up to the time of the Hickton accident, the sequence of barrier operation gave a minimum of 24 seconds from the start of the warning bells and flashing red lights to the passing of the fastest train. 8 seconds of warning, 8 seconds of barriers, and 8 more seconds until the train passed. A notice alongside the crossing advised road users to phone the signalman in an emergency or before crossing with exceptional or heavy load or cattle, such as this low loader. The first AHB had been installed in 1961, and by 1968, when this accident occurred, there were over 360 of them on the BR network. The inquiry at Hickton basically found that the road and rail sectors of the Ministry of Transport, the Inspectorate and British Railways were all involved in the build-up of the crash, as well as the men driving and escorting the load. The inquiry was wide-ranging, and it was quite clear from much of the evidence presented that the transporter crew had no real understanding of how the crossings work. They did not realise that the speed of operation, with a minimum of only 24 seconds from the start of the flashing light to the arrival of the train at speed, nor did they realise that the barriers were not linked to any railway signals at all, and there was absolutely no way of stopping any train if a road vehicle was stuck on the crossing. The transporter crew were under the impression that the police were in charge, and so they paid little heed to anything actually happening on the railway. There was doubt whether the transporter would actually pass under the wires over the railway, which obviously do hang down slightly with movement of the trains on the track. The transporter was moving at no more than 2 miles an hour, so basically a crawl. Like we said, the crew were checking the clearances above and below the load. The whole vehicle itself was 148 feet long. So that means the transport is actually moving at about 6 miles an hour to actually get over the crossing within the 24-second warning time. So he had no chance at all. The police accompanying the load had driven beyond the crossing, and they did not appreciate the rapid operation of the barriers either, or how fast a train can actually arrive. They also weren't aware of the fact there was a telephone there which they needed to use to call the signalman at college several miles away and actually supervise the crossing. The police actually had received no special training or advice on the procedures for large loads and crossing over AHBs. The Chief Constable of Staffordshire appreciated this was a new hazard, he said, which his force ought to know about. The government departments at the time, which had prepared and sent out some notices describing these new crossings, hadn't really emphasised the changes. In simple terms, the safety of the public using the new crossings was no longer guaranteed by the railways. Instead, the public were left to look after themselves. At the end of the inquiry, they basically concluded that the whole accident arose from many, many failures, from government departments and down to the men on the ground. The real cause, sadly, as we'll find out from many of these little stories, was ignorance. The police accompanying the load, nor the crew of the transporter, thought to telephone, and the signalman, not knowing, obviously left the line clear. They didn't realise how short a time they had until the train arrived, and by that time it was far too late. The road crew didn't know the meaning of emergency notice, as the sign wasn't very visible from the side of the road, and it wasn't even noticed by the policeman. The haulage firm had ignored letters they'd had from BR, and one of them actually was sort of quoted as saying he didn't like the tone of the letter, so they just put it to one side. The possibility of a long, slow vehicle taking minutes to pass over crossing hadn't even been considered, let alone discussed by the Ministry of Transport. The telephone procedure was hidden away in the notes sent to chief constables, and they basically thought it was unimportant. Even though it had been realised in 1965 and in 1966 that the emergency notice requires drivers to telephone before crossing with large loads, it was not entirely clear. No revisions were undertaken, and apart from the letter to the haulage firm, neither BR nor the Ministry sent out any advice to any haulage firms warning of the hazards of these new crossings and how they should cross over them. The Ministry, the Railway Inspectorate and British Rail had decided that responsibility for safety at level crossings, as we just said, is all to be transferred to the public and on the people on the road. The Ministry, the Railway Inspectorate and BR had decided that the responsibility for safety at all these level crossings was to be transferred to the public using the road, but they didn't tell the people or the public what they're actually supposed to do. Thank you for listening to Disaster Diaries with me, James Cullen. Tune in next month for another episode. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome. This is the draw for the episode 1 launch podcast competition. We've had numerous amounts of entries and we have all the correct entries in here. So yes, we've got Chris here of Hunt's Couplings. Hello Chris.
Hello. Thanks
for joining us and thanks for volunteering to do this. Yourself, you featured in the first episode, so you've taken the time and the honour to draw this competition. In here is all the entries. They're all sealed in a bag. I'm going to pass this over now to Chris so he can do the honours. We've got a plastic tub and in there we've got a bag with all the entries. Now, of all the entries we had 13 correct entries. All entries have been now printed out on a piece of paper and Chris is going to read them out and fold them up and place them into the tub. So Chris.
Down to me.
Yeah.
Michael Tufts, Owen Greenslade Yates.
Now the competition was open.
Craig Mason.
And it closed on Friday the 5th of June at 11 p.m.
Brian Finn. Steve of Dinmore Junction. Tim Wells.
Tim Wells, well done to Tim for getting the right answer. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribed via all the platforms you can listen to the podcast.
Gary Bambrick. Tim Serve. Hugh Capper. Ronald Morritt. Gary Walters. Simon Poole. And Peter Gower.
And the final one there, Peter Gower, well done to all of you. That's 13 correct entries. So the question was, what class of locomotive was resprayed for New Durham Junction and then donated to the charity auction that we did last year in 2019? And the correct answer was...
66.
It indeed was. It was a Class 66. And for those that didn't know that, then go check out the charity auction or go back to the first episode and you will see a picture of it in the groups, things like that. It was actually resprayed into Dukes of Hazzard, the General Lee. So Chris... would like to give them a swirl around.
I'm not looking. Not swirling.
Good luck to all of you. Good luck to all.
We have this one.
And the winner is...
Peter Gower.
Peter Gower. Well done to Peter Gower. You are the winner of the £50 The Model Centre TMC gift voucher, which will be coming over to you very soon. So thank you to everybody that has tuned in. Thank you to everyone that joined in with the correct answer. Peter Gower, you are the winner. Congratulations. We will be in touch with you very soon. Thank you again, obviously, to Chris of Hunt's Couplings and obviously of Hunt's Model Railway. Check him out on YouTube. Make sure you check out Westall Wagon Works and the Hunt's Couplings that these guys are producing. They are absolutely snowed under.
18 hours a day at last count.
Wow, there you go. So check out Hunt's Couplings. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you to all that entered. Make sure you subscribe to all the future episodes via all our platforms and all our podcatchers. All information is on our website, MRYCG.com. Take care. See you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
And there we go. Well done to everybody that entered successfully and also the winner of that great £50 prize. Thank you very much for that. Now it's on with other competitions that are out there in the community, and the first one we're going to be talking about is from Peaks47 on YouTube. This is a gentleman by the name of Sam. He is doing a great 1,000 subscriber and supporter giveaway. There's going to be some fantastic items up for grabs in this giveaway, such as World War Scenics scatters, Metcalf kits, Gauge Master coal, and much more. So make sure you check that out. It's currently active on his YouTube channel. That's Peaks47 on YouTube. Go check him out now and make sure you subscribe. And finally, following on, we have another competition to announce, which is coming up this Saturday, the 13th of June. This competition is going to be held by West Hill Wagon Works, and he'll be launching a great competition where you have the chance of winning one of 6 amazing prizes. So make sure you check out West Hill Wagon Works on YouTube for a great competition being launched on the 13th of June.
Are you looking to add a nice new addition to your layout? Then make sure you take a look at the MRYCG's very own marketplace to buy, sell or swap your second-hand items and collectibles. You'll find a wide range of locos, scenery and track, not to mention books, die-cast models and lots of highly collectible railway honour that you just cannot afford to miss. Are you looking for a certain item? Then why not place a wanted advert in your listings, as someone may just have that tucked away. Or maybe you have an item to sell yourself to be given a fresh lease of life in a new home. You'll find items in all scales and gauges at prices to suit your budget. So go on, why not take a look in the marketplace today? Find us on Facebook, hit that search bar and type in MRYCG Marketplace. Buy, sell, swap model railways.
We do hope you enjoyed this episode of Off the Rails with MRYCG. It's now time to say goodbye until next time. If you would like the chance to feature in future episodes or send us some feedback, then please send us an email to contactus@mrycg.com. Finally, I'd like to say many thanks to all of you who have listened in and those who have helped to make this podcast possible. So until next time, stay safe, stay well and keep on modelling.
A warm welcome from Brian at Finlayton Central. Thank you for listening to the monthly show by all at MRYCG.